Hello and welcome back. Today we're at the Surrey League 2-3 road race, which is on the Dunsfold circuit. This race is hosted by Kingston Wheelers, which is a club I actually used to ride for about 10 years ago, which is a really great grassroots cycling club based near Kingston, southwest London. So it's kind of them to put on this road race for us today. So today we've got a pretty good field. I think there's maybe 50 odd riders here. And I position myself at the front of the race, and we're just coming round to the start of the race now. It's a small circuit, and you see I've already attacked. Honestly, I was really cold. I just forgot my base there, and I just was so cold. We had like a 10-minute warm-up before the start of the race that I just wanted to get going and warm myself up. So I saw this one rider trip off the front, and I thought, yeah, why not? Maybe a couple more guys come and we get a little break going, and sometimes you can get away sneakily from the gun like that, but this wasn't one of those times. It was just me and this other rider, and we rode pretty well, but you know, it's a flat, fast course. Of course we were going to get brought back, but that doesn't stop me smashing it in the first few minutes of this race and getting up to 180 beats per minute, which is not ideal. I was probably a bit overexcited, and like I said, just cold, so eager to get going. A few minutes later we get brought back and obviously attacked, so I'm just kind of dangling on the front here, hoping for a few more riders to jump so I can get into the bunch without having to do any more surges. So this is quite a fast flow section of the course. I'm just kind of keeping things smooth, and now I start to filter in as riders kind of just move across instead of jumping across. But you still have to do a bit of a surge, just get onto the wheels. So we're tucking in here now. Now I was super keen to get in a breakaway. That was my main goal really for this race, because I was pretty confident a break could stay away. And here we're easing up now onto the fastest section of course, and here we go. This is a great time to attack. I was freewheeling there and I see two guys go. I know they're strong riders, so I absolutely surge and I want to get on those wheels. I just didn't see anyone else snapping, so I thought I'd snap to them. But this was a bloody hard effort, I tell you. We're going at some good speed here, and I'm trying to get up to them, and I kind of do that thing where you nearly get there. See here, I'm nearly here, and I just ease off the pedals and I don't close the last bit. I don't know why I do this. I should just close the last bit and get fully in the draft, but I'm kind of reluctant to go super deep. But then I'm just dangling more off the back of them. So it wasn't great for me really here. I was kind of just dangling slightly off the draft. But I do eventually get up to them. This bit here goes really fast downhill, so I'm just kind of trying to get aero. Trying to use my weight to fly down this hill, not putting out too much power, and I think I do get to them by the bottom of it. But I really should be surging harder just to get on the wheel. I'd probably give myself a much easier time. That's something I definitely need to improve going forward. Right now I'm thinking if I get to them, you know, we can form a 3 up and start working, but I think the bunch behind is super keen not to let it go, so they are also chasing, even though I'd get the bunch. And now I finally get on the wheel. I just want to skip an initial turn and just stay on the back here. So I roll through to the back of Forearm's wheel. And they're still chugging along, but I think now because I'm on the wheel, I've ruined their chances. So they realise that here looking behind, and they ease up. So now we're coming down to the main corner of the route. It's a nice left-hander. A couple of guys attack. That's a great idea. Great idea. We come down the hill, and this left-hander usually signifies the start of a new lap. The course was slightly different today. They had to move the finish line due to roadworks. So the finish line is actually about a 3-minute effort from after this corner. But you do have to slow down for this corner, so it's a good idea to take it out the front. So I kind of move forward here, take a nice line, and I get to the front. And this is the only kind of small kicker really. It's kind of a hill, but it's just a small kick really, and then it flattens out. And at the benefit of being at the front, I get a nice picture coming up the hill, leading the bunch up. So yeah, that was my reward for chasing down those two. And after that, I've jumped forward now to lap 3. I realise that I'm doing way too much, so I actually sit in for about 3 laps really, which was a lot easier. This is the fast flowy section of the course. You can get some really nice draft down here. And there were several other attempts at breakaways, but it's still kind of early on in the race, a lot of people were chasing it down. So I let that responsibility go to other people. Now I've jumped forward on lap 5, and there was a weird lull in the bunch. Now I'm second wheel here. There might be one other rider off the front. This guy was, going at good pace. I just thought there seems to be a gap behind us. Guys are easing up. So I actually hit the front quite hard. I'm keen. This is at the top section of the small kind of hill. So I push quite hard to keep the speed, and I want to get things going because I sense there's a gap to the bunch behind us, and I can sense there's a few guys around me that also feel the same. So I've flicked my arm, and other guys pull through, and other guys are keen and they're motivated. So we start rolling here quite well, and there's a gap to the bunch. So there's one off from the front of us, and there's about 4 or 5 of us here who start rolling, and a couple more I think jump across from the bunch. And I'm thinking this is how we can form a breakaway, which is exactly what happens. So we start rolling turns. This guy pulls a bit of a longer turn as we catch up to the lone rider out front. Here we go, we've just passed now. Now we're on lap 6, so only 4 laps to go, and I pull through hard, and I want to get the speed going, and I want to encourage other people around me to also pull. So which they did. Guys were super motivated. They sensed there was a gap to the bunch, so it was in everyone's interest now to pull and work hard and get a good gap. So guys start rolling through. They roll through hard as well, possibly too hard there. I've been gapped. But I'm keeping an eye over my shoulder, and I want to keep the rotation going, so I jump in behind Dynamo. And guys are motivated now. We were talking to each other. We knew we had a gap, so we were motivating each other to all roll through quickly, through and off, and chain gang really, and keep the speed high. Now this was a hard effort. I mean, when it was your turn to pull through in the front, you see I'm doing over 500 watts. It was hard. You had to really push into the wind and then roll over to the right hand side and wait for the next rider on the left to come through, and then you get your shelter as they filter in front of you. And some guys were pulling through slightly harder than others initially, which made things a little bit more disjointed. But I think we did get into more of a rhythm as we kind of got into the effort. And then guys were actually quite courteous. They were kind of saying last man as they were the last man passing you, so you knew it was your time to filter up through the chain gang. Because at this point, we are all allies. The 8 of us, it's time to work as a team and get a gap on the bunch, a sizable gap. Once you've got established a nice gap, you can play games, but you can't do that until you've got a gap. So it's like we're riding as teammates here. And speaking of teammates, there is a good representation in this group. The major teams at this race were London Dynamo, Le Cole, and Kingston Wheelers. So we've got good representation from all of those clubs. So that means that the bunch behind, there might be more riders that are less inclined to chase. So there might only be a few other riders that are up for actually chasing us. So this is a nice group, and it's really good to invest this energy as a group and work together now to get a good gap. We're now riding on one of the more smoother sections of the course. This course is riddled with potholes. But the benefit of being in a group like this is we would call the potholes out to each other, and it's slightly easier to dodge them. If you've got skills, sometimes you can bunny hop them, but yeah, just don't go through them. Bad things can happen, and they did happen to me later in this race, but we'll get to that. So right now I'm really happy with how I'm doing in this race. We definitely got a nice little gap to the bunch. We weren't getting time calls, but you could see when you looked over your shoulder that they weren't in sight on kind of the longer sections of the course, which is a good sign. So Right now I'm thinking we just need to keep rolling together until maybe a lap to go, and then we can play some more games. And here's a nice picture of us all working really well as a team and sitting pretty. Now you're probably wondering why you're watching some footage of a stream. Well, I hit a pothole at speed and my GoPro mount just shattered, and I wasn't recording at the time because the GoPro only has about an hour of record time, so it's kind of turning it off and on when exciting things were happening. I didn't get it recorded when it fell off. However, it did start recording by itself in the ditch, and we got a nice shot of us all coming by a lap later. However, we were joined by 4 other riders, which I was quite surprised by. 4 strong riders must have attacked out the main bunch and worked really well together because they caught up with us. So now we were a big group of 12, which complicated things. And then things got slightly worse for me because I started to feel fatigue, and I don't think I'm quite race fit for 2-hour road races. And I could feel cramps in my legs, which is a problem for me, and it keeps happening. I don't think it's from, lack of electrolytes. It was a cold day, I wasn't sweating that much. I think it's just muscle failure. I think it's a lack of intensity, a lack of, doing 500 watts seated, 600 watts seated, surging for a long period of time. So I think I just need a little bit more race-specific training, and hopefully I can get better at the back end of these races. Now we've got some fang footage from the side of the road. I led the group round the final left-hander. I kind of wanted to sag climb that last climb just to save myself. And it didn't really help me because my legs capitulated. So unfortunately, I finished back of the breakaway, 12th place. But that's still points. Points up to 15th place for this race. And I did hit my goal, which was to get in the breakaway, which was, my main goal. I wanted to be active and participate, and that's exactly what I did. So, I'm happy with the day. And the good news is that I found the GoPro in the ditch, and my Wahoo, which fell off as well. Found both of them, which could have been a really costly day out for me. So I was glad to find them, and glad to make the breakaway. So all in all, it was a good day out. Thanks for watching.